You're a Billy Goat, and this is the Science Fiction Rating System Podcast, Episode 6. Do you get that quote?
Yeah, wasn't it Scanner Darkly?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 6. This is the podcast that aims to rate every science fiction film from 1 to infinity. As ever, I am Sam, and I am joined by Chris.
Hello.
And Alex.
Hey.
We're recording early in the day, which is why everyone's very high energy. That was a big high energy.
The sun's out. The sun's out in London. I don't know what it's like up there, but it's been...
The sun is out here as well.
Beautiful today.
Yeah, lovely day. But let's forget about sun, because we're all about space. Each week we discuss...
No.
What?
Not just space.
Well, no, I guess not, no.
Okay.
All right, I'm just trying to be catchy.
Yeah, okay.
So if you've not listened before, this is a podcast where we take 3 films each week and decide how good they are and add them to a great big list of films, which currently has 15 films in it. Aliens at number 1 and Universal Soldier: The Return at number 15. This week we're going to be reviewing Paprika, A Scanner Darkly, and Ghost in the Shell. Not in that order. Yeah, but first, before we get into that, last week we talked about Edge of Tomorrow, which we didn't like, did we? It was
Middling.
Ended up at 11 in the list.
Yeah.
And I mentioned I was reading the book last week. I finished that, and it's all right. It's not a great book. It's better than the film, but it does explain why the aliens are there, which I thought, if they'd have said, would have made the film better. So basically, during one of the flashback moments, going back in time things, the character in the book sort of interfaces with the alien and finds out why they're there. And basically, they are an alien whose planet is dead, and so they launch these probes across the galaxy to find planets they can colonize, and then those aliens that land are basically terraforming the planet to make it suitable for the aliens to come and live there.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And the way the time travel works is that basically the way they do this, their defense mechanism is they set up like a server with nodes, and when one of those nodes hits trouble, it pings back to the server and says, roll back in time because we've hit this problem. And they try it again until they get it right. And so the way that...
So that's actually logical. That's
totally.
Why did they put that in? That's so annoying.
I guess it would have been more complicated, but the way they do it in the film is basically that... the lady, I can't remember what the girl character's called.
The Angel of Verdan.
Yeah, basically
or whatever
her,
it is, yeah.
And Tom Cruise, they both become nodes connected to a server. So the book ends with them having to fight each other because all the nodes are going to be set, destroyed for the thing to stop happening. Only one thing can survive. So it's a much better end, really. It's a much better story, really, in total.
Who wins? Just tell us. Who wins?
The bloke wins.
Oh. Yeah. Is he upset, though, having to kill his girlfriend?
I don't remember. The end's not very good, to be honest. It kind of falls apart a bit. But no, I thought that was a good bit of insight, and it would have been a better film with that more downer ending. And
I think the organisation of the film was not really on it. Because they didn't really know what they were doing when they started shooting, did they? So.
But anyway, that's last week's news. We're moving on.
Need sci-fi news in general? Not really.
Is there any sci-fi
I saw
news?
Logan on your recommendation.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
It's nice to have a standalone comic book film, isn't it? That doesn't need any other guff around it.
No, yeah, it was good. It had just the right amount of violence. Good little kick-ass girl in it. A few things that didn't really make any sense. But...
Have you seen it, Alex?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay,
no, annoyingly.
Okay, we won't go there then.
No, thank you.
Yeah. What else news? Well, of course, Ghost in the Shell comes out next week. That's why we're doing this animation special this week. In fact, was it this week? It might come out this week, actually.
Yeah, I think it's this week,
Yeah.
It's out soon anyway.
Isn't it had bad reviews?
I don't know, has it?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I can't imagine how... We're not talking about it yet, but I just can't imagine how it can be any good.
The only thing that's got me intrigued is that someone on Twitter mentioned that Beat Takeshi's in it. Do you know that, Alex?
Yeah, he's in the trailer. I saw him in the trailer.
Yeah.
But he's great, but he can't save a whole film.
No, he can't. But the fact that he's willing to do it, because he doesn't make a lot of crap, does he?
But do you think he's just a character from the very opening scene and he gets killed?
Yeah.
Well, so that's a bit annoying.
He's kind of given his blessing, hasn't he, in a way? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. We'll have to...
Anyway.
Maybe someone will see it.
Yes. Has anyone got a plan? I'm not planning to see it. Chris, you plan to see it?
I will go and see it.
You will? Okay.
Just
You
because
can report back.
I mean, stylistically, visually, it looks quite interesting.
Okay. You can report
And
back
having
next time.
just watched the animation, I can see actually how that was just a paint by numbers of how to make a film. So, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. That's for later on the podcast. So let's get on with our first film, shall we?
Yes. Go.
And that is A Scanner Darkly, directed by Richard Linklater from 2006, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, 2006. Alex, do you want to just give us a quick synopsis of?
I will. So it's Richard Linklater he did Boyhood and Before Sunset and Before Sunrise and Before Midnight and lots of other films that take him about 30 odd years to make. So that's his thing. But it's based on a semi-autobiographical novel of the same name, the Philip K. Dick, A Scanner Darkly, which is from 1977, and it's set 7 years from now. That's the vague thing we get in the beginning. A dystopian near future where a highly addictive, brain-damaging drug called Substance D is enslaving the populace. Working as an undercover narcotics detective using a high-tech scramble suit, which protects his identity, Bob Arctor, what is it? Arctor, yep.
Yeah.
Played by Keanu Reeves, investigates small-time users and dealers who he happens to live and do drugs with. When he's assigned to look into himself as a potential terrorist by his superiors, he starts to question his own identity, and as Substance D slowly affects his mind, and reality and fantasy blend together, he kind of starts questioning everything, basically. So it's basically just lots of drugs and a bit of science fiction.
Yeah. I'd forgotten that you had done a professional intro last week. And you showed us up again.
I was just sat there. I wasn't even listening to what he was saying. I was just staring.
I'm sorry.
I was just staring at my screen going, oh, fuck.
Sorry. Well, the reason this is in is because it's rotoscoped, isn't it? So it's all live action people, really famous. I mean, Robert Downey Jr.
He wasn't
Keanu.
as famous at the time, was he?
No, he was in his down period, wasn't he? Robert Downey Jr., Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Woody Harrelson, and Rory Cochrane, who's in a lot of Richard Linklater films, I read. But they're all acting, and then it's all animated over the top. And,
just about acting. Just about.
Just about acting. And it's Ralph Bakshi, isn't it? He's the most famous person who did this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like Cool World, Heavy Metal, Lord of the Rings, that weird Lord of the Rings that stops halfway through. So that's why it's here for animation. Now, my major problem with it is that, not talking too much about the other films, but the other films needed to be animated. The world they bring is a world that could not be achieved at the times those films were made through live action. This film, I just think, I don't know why they bothered to film all that stuff and then animate it over. The only bit that is science fiction, or the only bit that they maybe couldn't have done, but it's 2006, is the scramble suit.
Suits,
that's the only.
Yeah.
And it seems so weird.
Them suits were shit.
Well, it's a cool idea, but I don't see why they didn't have the effects to do it in 2006. Yeah. Why did he want it? Why did he animate it? He ruined the whole thing, basically.
I think as well. I remember when I watched this probably a year after it came out, and it looked better than I think it does now.
Yeah,
it looks
definitely.
rough now.
It looks shit now.
But I also think that there's not much of a consistency with like the animation style. Like the suits in particular, they don't stick to any kind of. A lot of the rotoscoping is quite like one-to-one with real life, isn't it? You can see they're just drawn over a cell. But then it's a lot more cartoon-like in some of the suits. The last shot of the film with the massive fields looks like it's come out of like a cheap Don Bluth 80s film. It's all over the place.
Well, there was one bit in the flashback when he sees his old life. There's a bottle. I watched it twice. There's a bottle. He puts it down and it goes 2D. Yeah, like it literally goes flat.
Yeah, there's a lot of items in the moving animation where there are just 2D cells moving around.
Yeah. A lot of the tracking shots, isn't it? There's 2D stuff. Chris, what did you think of?
I didn't care for it because for the same reasons in that it didn't really need to be animated. It was kind of, I don't know when when did Grand Theft Auto start making their like promotional things like cartoony like this?
Oh, it does. Yeah,
before this, that'd have been 2001.
Do you understand what I mean? It's like that same thing.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't like about when there's some characters where their facial features actually jumped around in their face a little bit.
It was like everyone was wobbling all the time.
And it only happened every now and again.
I don't think it's helped by the acting as well.
I wonder whether they've like rotoscoped a face off person A and put it over the body of person B.
Maybe. I just think it's bad acting. Like the Rory Cochrane character, Freck.
Yeah.
What, the freaky one?
Yeah, he's ridiculous facial tics and stuff like that. I mean, it's not...
I don't mind it being slightly cartoony because that's what it is. And they've all sort of gone a bit overboard with what they're doing, but it's just... And also, there's no continuity in them suits, them scramble suits. He's taking the drugs at his desk, and he's knocking them back through the suit. He's actually putting them in his mouth.
You're right.
Through the suit.
Oh yeah,
the suit is a hood that you pull over your face.
Oh God, how is he? You're right.
And he does that on two occasions.
Oh, that's really fucking stupid.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
No. I read. Did you read? There were a lot of problems with the animation, basically.
No, not really.
Don't have to read.
No, well, it seems like because he shot it all quite quickly and then gave it over, and it just took so long. And then he felt there. Some people who did loads of the work, he fell out with them, and then they locked themselves in their. It's all on Wikipedia, but it all went horribly wrong. And the people that did the majority of the work are credited very small. And then other people took over just to bang it to get it done really quickly.
That makes sense because it is so inconsistent. And really, it's just working against what is... I mean, essentially, it's quite a good story, isn't it? The idea of somebody investigating himself... because that's the crux of the story, basically, is that he is assigned anonymously to investigate drug dealers, and he... Well, no, sorry, not dealers, are the users, to try and find a way up the chain, and he is the... Not the kingpin, but the linchpin, maybe, of that himself. So he's investigating himself. And that sort of...
it's a good idea.
Dual role. It's a good idea, which is...
Hiding in plain sight, which is a good storyline in general.
I don't think the payoff's that good. The fact that, spoilers, Winona Ryder, who's his boss, is also his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't think they really sell that very well.
No.
And the whole...
when I was watching, I was going, what? It's like, it was given to me...
it just seems a needlessly complicated scam to get into this new path the company are making the drug. I don't see how you'd ever get to the conclusion that that's the only way to get somebody in the organisation. It's like they just needed an
end. It's like they needed to wrap it up. Yeah, filming was completed in 23 days. Animation process took 18 months.
Bloody hell.
So went wrong. Went very badly wrong.
And it just distracts, doesn't it? There's nothing...
Yeah.
I can't think of one scene where I'm like, oh, that's cool. The animation there was so stand out. That...
There's nothing interesting about the animation. And them suits, after what? Okay, you get it. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then, but it's insipidly annoying after a while, looking at them suits.
Yeah, it's hard to watch, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think maybe done in real life with a real special effect, it might actually have looked quite cool as an idea.
Yeah.
It's a mess, and it's a mess, and the animation is shit, and it makes it more of a mess. Basically, that's the problem with it, isn't it? It just, like you said, it's so distracting. You can't even really concentrate on anything else in it.
Yeah,
and it's so annoying that they're famous people. Why not cast a load of nobodies if you're going to animate over them anyway? Yeah,
well, especially animate them over their own faces.
Well, it's just one of them sly little side of the mouth jokes which you get like. Oh, it's just really horrible.
Well, you can see obviously the idea that Linklatter's had is that drugs are so crazy you can't portray them with real practical effects, isn't it? That's the crux of it. Is that he's Linklatter's dropped some acid at some point and thought he was in a cartoon, hasn't he? That's what's happened. Basically,
Okay, yeah.
And so he thinks that that's a great idea. We'll show that by rotoscope and stuff like that. But it doesn't work consistently. I think also the acting in it is a real disservice to it. I get that this kind of... And the soundtrack, although there's some good Radiohead songs on there, the actual original music is that kind of wacky... Have you seen Inherent Vice? That kind of weird sort of... I don't know the word for it is. It's like Californian kind of kooky cool kind of thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it just doesn't gel. Like
No.
you've got Robert Downey Jr. who's in that film with that soundtrack, you know. Then you've got Cochran, who is in his own weird film where he's just overplaying the drugs to make just a ridiculous effect.
Yeah.
And then Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder are in a much more serious film, and like Keanu Reeves, his performance isn't that bad. But it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the character. Do you know what I mean? Like the actors, they seem to be in different films in a way, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, Woody Harrelson and Robert...
I don't mind the Downey Jr. stuff because I find it quite entertaining. Him,
Did you?
How he, but he's the same all the time.
Exactly, he's doing that kind of druggy Downey Jr. role that he did. That kind of quick-witted, quite really hyper intelligent. Same as Woody Harrelson is doing his kind of stoner type
shtick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Downey Jr. annoys me in everything. I don't like it in Iron Man. He's all right in Zodiac. I don't mind him in that, but that's about the only thing I can think that I don't mind him in. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to it, is there? Like, there's a good. I mean, I don't
it's
think
like
it's a
an
short
idea
story,
you do for a short film, and it's been pulled to the maximum.
That's the thing with a lot of Philip K. Dick's. Well, I think nearly all of his work is that even the ones that aren't short stories are short stories. They're not 200 pages long, and the ones that are successful, like Blade Runner, they expand a lot or change a lot in a creative way, you know. Whereas this pretty much sticks to the text. There's a few bits missing, but there's not a lot different between this and the book, to be honest with you. Have either of you read it?
Okay. No,
I haven't. No.
It's it's very similar. Like even the almost shot for shot at times.
okay.
There's a few bits that are different, but like I think that works against it because it's not. It's an episode of the Outer Limits, isn't it? It's not a film.
Yeah. But so you should have just taken a good idea and gone somewhere more interesting with it, rather than just going, I'm going to faithfully, But it's the kind of director he is, isn't it? He's probably the wrong director to have. I mean, I read that Terry Gilliam was going to do it at one point. Charlie Kaufman was going to couldn't make a screenplay. But they're more visionaries. I don't really think in his hands he had enough vision to do anything with it. Like
exactly. I mean, I can. You can see why they couldn't make a better.
Richard Linklater, right in if you're upset with it. Yeah, come on, email us. Yeah,
no, I agree. Though he's terrible. I never enjoy his films.
Yeah, how's your boyhood now?
You can see why better screenwriters did give up, because there's nothing there to make a film out of, other than to just copy it, wrote, and make a rubbish film. But
yeah,
oh well.
The opinions of Sam Draper are not shared by.
Well, they're shared by Alex.
Yeah, I share them. Yeah, screw him. Screw this film.
We are as one. They're the opinions of the podcast, I'm afraid.
I have to go along with the...
you agree that Star Wars 4 is better than Jurassic Park, according to the podcast, so...
Yeah, and you agree Independence Day is where it is.
Yeah, I do pretty much, yeah. Quite low down. Yeah. All right, is there much more to say on this? I don't think there is. I think there's a lot more to say about the other two, so we might as well move on. I mean, it's kind of... It's interesting it exists because it is a bit different, isn't it? And it's it's interesting to watch. I like the Radiohead cuts are really deep. There's some real good B-sides and stuff from Radiohead that when I heard them I was like, oh, I didn't expect to hear that in a film, which I like. But again, it just smacks of like trying too hard to appear cool.
There's like I say, the Ralph Bakshi stuff is more interesting uses of this as a technique. You know, this isn't the best use of rotoscoping. It's not a good... if you didn't know what it was, you would just think, well, that's just terrible. Why have they bothered? Why have they traced over these people?
Yeah.
I probably don't think the story was thick enough, was interesting enough, to be honest.
No.
If it was like Breaking Bagden like that, maybe, I don't know. It's just like... There's just not enough going on.
No, there's not. The core premise is interesting, but there's just not enough to hang it on, is there, at all? What I would like to know is, do you think, when Winona Ryder is... the boss in a bloke's voice, that's not Winona Ryder, is it? That's somebody else.
It sounded really familiar, that voice, to me.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because they should have just processed Winona Ryder's voice, shouldn't they?
Yeah, because they processed Keanu's voice.
Yeah. Because also, like when they do the reveal where she walks in and takes the suit off, that is so clearly a woman walking in before she takes the suit off, isn't it? Like, it's clear Winona Ryder, and before that it was clearly not her walking around. It's, like the gait of a person tells you so much about them that it's obvious.
Also, Keanu should have bits of female coming through his voice when he's got the suit on, right? And
Yeah.
there should be no
Well, no, 'cause-
genderisation. There should be like mixed gender as well, right?
No, because both their voices are like just like men's, aren't they? Her voice is a man's voice all the time.
Yeah.
Until she
Sexist
takes the suit off.
suits.
Yeah, yeah. Right, so where's this going in the list? Where do we think? Let's start with Alex.
I think probably below Edge of Tomorrow, maybe above Inner Space. Maybe. But maybe below Inner Space. But definitely above Spaceballs.
Chris?
Right at the bottom.
Below
Ow.
Universal Soldier?
Yes, yeah.
Oh my god.
Ow.
I wasn't expecting that. Why? Do you think that's worse than Universal Soldier?
It has no like cinematic merit in what it's trying to do.
Wow. The opinions of Chris Redding are not...
That's way worse.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
At least the makers of Universal Soldier were trying to make a movie picture.
Trying to entertain, and they
were
did.
they were being honest. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and it wasn't a hipster sly little joke.
Yeah. For me, I would put it above Safety Not Guaranteed and below Spaceballs. Because I think I didn't enjoy it, and I'd rather watch Spaceballs again, which wasn't good, but it's better. So what we're saying?
Actually, I think it should be lower now. I'm coming more that it should be lower. Yeah, those other films, I would watch those other. I wouldn't watch Scanner Darkly again. I don't.
No,
think.
I wouldn't. I was annoyed that I had to watch it. I'd not seen it before, and I was annoyed that someone had even who suggested that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
No, I think maybe I
would
did. I'm
never
very
have thought
sorry.
that.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
right.
I think maybe actually Chris is right. Maybe it should be at the bottom because it is annoying.
No, it's not worse than Universal Soldier,
But
is
I
it?
like. I was entertained. But I would watch Universal Soldier: The Return again. It was entertaining.
Wow.
There's just something insipidly not nice about it. I just don't.
I think the way you feel about this film is the way I feel about Safety Not Guaranteed. In that, it
I was
annoys me
just
to watch
thinking,
it.
Safety Guaranteed is a 10 times better film because
No, it's
it's
not,
actually
it's
got
dreadful.
heart and it's got a.
Heart is overrated.
And I don't know. Maybe I just don't like all the druggy jokes in the other one. It's just fuck idiot.
No, I don't like that either. All right.
Chris is right in that it failed. It failed as a piece of art, as a piece of animation. It failed. It just does. It looks terrible, and the story is pretty terrible.
If you're into animation, it's shit. If you're into
Yeah.
movies, it's shit. The only redeeming quality it's got is you get to see these three famous people as a cartoon, and that's after 5 seconds. That's old.
It's an interesting premise.
When Robert Downey Jr. dies, and they do like a collection of his roles for like BAFTA at the end of BAFTAs or something. You know what I mean? Like when they do his work. I was thinking, would they use a clip of that?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
it would give you variety, but everyone would go, "What the fuck?"
All right, then I guess it's going bottom, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Chris is right. It is annoying. It's actively annoying, isn't it?
I understand your argument with Universal Soldier, and if it went above Universal Soldier, I'd take that.
Universal Soldier's it's awful on every level. There's nothing redeeming about it. Like the story's terrible. It's the direction's terrible. The sets are terrible.
But it was good
The
fun.
music's terrible. The acting's
Alex,
terrible.
would you accept above Universal Soldier? I would.
But I liked Universal Soldier. I would watch Universal Soldier again.
See,
I
Sam,
found it
if you want to go
entertaining.
above Universal Soldier, and me and you,
I tell you what, no, I'm
do
gonna pick my battles. It can go bottom because I think I'm having a fight later on in this show. So I'll accept bottom. So
Yeah.
okay, I'll pick my battles. So we've got a new number 16, not new bottom of the list. It's Richard Linklater's A Scanner Darkly. Actually, it does. What makes me like that is that the sort of person who'd like that film would be really annoyed by it being that low, wouldn't they? So that does appeal to me. So, all right.
It was also barely science fiction. Like we said about Safety Not Guaranteed, it was barely, there was not much science
It's
fiction.
got that kind of Donnie Darko turn of the century sort of alternative feel that I don't like.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. It's
Yeah.
very like Vanilla Sky, that kind of
Yeah.
Cameron Crowe sort of film. I hate those sorts of films. All right, cool.
That's why I don't like Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, to be honest. Same reason. But
You're wrong about that.
Yeah. Also, you liked it more because it's number 6, and as we just discussed, it's your opinion as much as mine. So
The stats.
better than Independence Day. Anyway, before we open that wound again, let's have a quick break and return with our second film. We are back with our second film of the day, Paprika. So we're moving to Japan now for our first Japanese films. We've got 2 coming up. This is Paprika, the last film by Satoshi Kon, Japanese director who sadly died not long after this. Also from 2006, and animated. This was my choice. I wanted to watch this for a while, so I will give a brief synopsis. So basically, it's the future, the near future as it always is, and a device called the DC Mini has been invented, which lets you view the dreams of other people, which sounds a good idea, but only there's sort of terrorists who get hold of it and are doing bad things to people who are dreaming, and sort of basically using the technology for ill rather than good. So it falls to several of the employees at the company to catch the terrorist and work out what is going on. The synopsis doesn't really do the film justice.
No.
Basically, it is a film about what dreams mean, what technology means, and what the intersection between those two things mean. So how technology influences the way we dream, and how we portray dreams in our mind, and the dangers of maybe messing with that too much. Is that fair enough? That's the reading I got from it. I mean, it's these sorts of films have been interpreted in lots of ways. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It's just my kind of thing, like a bit of bit of philosophy, a bit of thinking, crazy visuals, that kind of Japanese. Not really, it's humour, but like just weirdness, like oddness to it, which I just love. So, got more to say, but before I do, let's just see. I'm interested, first of all, Chris. I'm guessing of the three of us, you've seen the least Japanese animated stuff.
Yeah,
is that right?
I mean, my experience in this area was 0 before this week. So,
right, okay. So, what's your opinion of this one?
I found it difficult to follow, I think. I'm not a massive fan of the visuals, especially when they kept going to like the dream bit. It's like a carnival sort of thing, isn't it? Yeah. And the music I find quite insipid and haunting. Kind of, I don't know if you have to be a child to sort of for these things to be.
What are you saying about me?
To sort of press the right buttons. But I know I used to would have like watched this sort of thing. If I would watch it when I was younger, it would have made a bigger.
It's hardly a child's film, is it?
I know that, but I'm just saying the colours and the music and the sound design and things, everything gets used.
I'd have thought you'd have liked all the film reference and the kind of intertextuality of it, Chris.
I would, but actually, visually, I'm not stimulated enough by what I'm seeing, because a lot of, as we've already said, I mean, just the animation style is they have to use a lot of still frames, a lot of pans over stills. They have to use a lot of still elements within the frame.
They're beautiful stills, aren't they, though?
Yeah.
They are, but I mean, come on, 5 seconds, too long. I mean...
Yeah, but that's just the style of animation. That's the style of how,
I know.
how they make these films.
Well, let's just end it with, I don't like the style of animation.
All right, okay. Okay, Alex, what's your quick take?
Story was good, though.
You've seen Akira and things like that, haven't you?
Yeah, like I was kind of into manga when like manga entertainment came to the UK, that kind of thing. I saw like This is a North Star, Akira, professional. In fact, my haircut is pretty much Golgo 13's haircut. That's pretty much my standard of my haircut. That's what I always go for. And I've kept that. And I've seen Perfect Blue, which is his other film, which is really good. It's a kind of crazy slasher kind of... Yeah, that's really weird. And I really like this. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really interesting. I think there's some great quotes in it. There's some great lines, like that line about like the internet and dreams being really similar because they're I wrote it down, areas where the repressed conscious mind vents. Likes that.
Yeah.
And I like the one the chairman says when he says, I wrote that down as well. What is it? It's like science is nothing but a piece of trash before a profound dream.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a
brilliant
one, yeah.
I like that. It did, I can see why you liked it, Sam. It reminded me of a book I read a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Yeah, weirdly. Yeah.
And you hadn't seen it before you wrote your book?
No, I hadn't. No. So, just for people at home, I wrote a book called Sleep My Horrors, which you know no one can get it. It's not a plug. That had a similar premise, basically about people going into dreams to influence what they do in life. Yeah, which was a bit spooky to. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a very different sort of take on that thing. But it fascinates me, that kind of thing. And like that line about the technology thing. I think the thing that really grabs me about it is that idea of the cinematic thing of it, and the scene in the cinema where she's explaining like gaze theory and things like that, and how the mind interprets different images and who look at who and stuff like that. And it's literally like a tiny little film studies lesson in the middle of the film.
Yeah, that's really clever. Yeah, that's really good.
And it's
this and to the next film, I find they do actually take time out to either go into some scientific theory.
Yeah,
or
that's what a Japanese film will do. They're not as rushed as British films. They will take time. But that little scene is such like I think the film kind of like pivots on it because it makes explicit what isn't explicit before in a way. Because obviously when you see these dream sequences, you're thinking, oh, that's like dreams I've had, and it's like a film, isn't it? So you're already drawing that parallel yourself, but not explicitly. And then when it does that scene, you go, oh, hang on, this makes a lot of sense. Like dreams are influenced by the media we take in, aren't they? Like you do have cinematic pans in your dreams, don't you? You do see yourself as a hero and things like that. And how those two, it's the push and pull, isn't it? Between like how much do you want your brain to be creating on its own? How much do you not want to interfere with it and push too hard into that with the technology? And of course, the film like comes to the natural conclusion of that by saying the technology is actually like invasively going into the dream. And the dangers of that, which it's just...
the only thing I would say against that is that I found sometimes the references, I spent my time looking for the references and that detracted a little bit from it. Right. I'd say, skipping ahead a bit, Ghost in the Shell to me was just a purely like, it was just so fresh, so original. Yeah. And this, because it did, there's like Tinkerbell in there, Pinocchio, Monkey, like there's a lot of things where you're like, oh yeah, look, it's that, oh look, it's that. I liked it, but it brought me out of it a bit, and I get what you're saying. That's a really good way of seeing it. But also, as a film, it diminished it because it made it a little bit less original. I'd have to say because they were referencing other things, so you felt a little bit like, but now they're riffing on this now.
European references. And
yeah. I mean, it's all like with when they have that shot in the parade of the people with cameras attached to their heads who do the upskirt shots.
Yeah.
So it's sort of all media influence, isn't it? Like West influence, East influence, like those sorts of perverts, everything. And do you notice that in the scene when they walk down past the cinema, it's his films, isn't it?
They're all. And the one that she tells him to go and see was going to be his next film, but he died before it, which is really sad.
Yeah, it's tragic, isn't it?
Yeah. I liked how the main characters were just scientists. They weren't... I mean, Another was a detective, but he was a bit of a washed-up character. They weren't kind of kick-ass, like in Ghost in the Shell. They're not elite military. They're just kind of the big fat guy, the weird little old guy. She's really cult... Paprika, her alternate kind of persona is pretty kick-ass, but she's quite a kind of detached, just boring scientist, isn't she?
And of course, like, towards the end of the film, that persona is in the dream, isn't she, as well?
Yeah, that's really clever. I'd really like that
idea of like she's realising that she doesn't herself is good enough to do the sort of stuff as well as the Paprika she's created in the dreams to influence it. I love the shot. The scene in the lift when she realizes that she feels a lot for the fat dude.
Oh yeah, that was really nice. Yeah,
and it's such a
nice.
Because not much is said or done, is it? And it's but you get that connection really.
No, I mean it did all the stuff about identity. It kicks the shit out of Scanner Darkly to discuss the kind of her kind of identity crisis, as it were. Yeah. It's much more intelligently deals with that than Scanner Darkly did. Yeah, and it's much. I find this kind of stuff a bit disturbing sometimes. A bit where the guy put his hand kind of inside her. That was just. And I found the parade quite horrible. It did remind me of horror fever dreams I've had. It was that kind of
just because it had a recurring sort of tune.
Yeah, it never end. The whole way they kept saying where's it going? It's not going to ever end.
It's just Small World or something.
Yeah, no, I did actually find it. It did kind of make me. It kind of induced a kind of bit. It was like the kind of panic of that kind of fever dreams that I've had.
Yeah.
And it did capture that. So it was just good, and it was very unlike anything apart from your book.
Available.
It's not available. No, it's not a plug. Don't go looking for it. You can't get it.
It's an anti-plug. You can never read it.
You cannot read it. No, sorry.
For the right price, you can.
That's true. It's almost make me an offer. Yeah.
If someone wants to publish it,
if you enjoy Paprika and want a Western take on it, then I'm all ears. Okay. Have I got any other points to make? So, Chris, you've not said much. I mean, you said you didn't.
No, I've just
watch it on that level.
Obviously, you get a lot because you've made connections to other works and films and how this whole world works. And I don't have any of that backstory, so I only had it as a standalone film.
Yeah. It's not backstory, is it?
You did. I mean, you were like, well, there's connections there to other films that he's going to do, and there's. I didn't probably get as much as you guys did, but I'm probably not as clever as you guys. I mean,
no, but you can still.
You just watched it differently, aren't you?
Yeah, you just watched it differently.
Yeah. I didn't find it very cinematic, in really, but I don't know. I mean, I think this is a different art form to
other science fiction
for other things we've been talking about.
Okay, it's too different to be considered as a.
Yeah, I really struggle with this in a film.
Okay,
I mean, obviously it is a movie, and people would always argue with me on that. But I struggle with it as a different art form because it's not being photographed. It's not.
See, that's interesting when you consider the next film, which of course.
But also the last one, because the last one was photographed as part of its.
Yeah.
But that's what hamstrung it, because it was.
Yeah, you hated that more because of that.
Yeah. Whereas this was the good thing about this sort of film.
The last one, if it was done, shot really nice, and just left in photographed without it being animated.
Yeah,
that'd probably be a better film.
Definitely,
it would. Yeah. But what Paprika does, and what a lot of good animation does, is stuff that literally you couldn't show.
Yeah, that was my problem with Scanner Darkly.
Yes.
You couldn't. They didn't. I read as well. They were trying to do a live action adaptation of this, but then Inception, they're kind of like, oh well, it's too much like Inception, which it isn't massively, at all.
Well, but Inception was influenced by this, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't think about it.
It must have been.
Yeah.
It has to have been. I mean, yeah.
No, they have admitted that. They have said that it was influenced for it. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, this was a much better film than Inception for me. I much more enjoyed it. But that comes to the.
But the whole point of saying it's a better film for me, I don't think it is, because it's not a film.
To me, it is because the crux of why animation works for it is that but it doesn't. It's not it's a film still, because it tells a similar story to Inception about dreams. But whereas Inception is hamstrung by the fact it is a film, and you've got some very dramatic effects and stuff like that, but it can't get into the really weird esoteric stuff in a way this can. It can't show a parade of cartoon characters. It can't show people growing out of throats or jumping through lenses, because if they showed it with real people.
But there's no reason why you couldn't do that with photographic CGI though.
You wouldn't buy it if it was done with real people. You would not buy a man jumping out of a lens. Because of the uncanny valley and how the brain works, I don't think you'd be on board with it. You'd think this is just stupid. But because the whole thing is is by definition
because the normal
more
world is
abstract.
animated. So
Yeah, exactly. So when it goes really weird, you can really go with it, and that for me is why you should put it in the same sort of list, because it can do things in films. Like I think Ghost in the Shell does as well, which we'll come on to next, that you can't do in live action, not from technical limitations, but from limitations how the brain works, in the sense that you are always going to have trouble going to, like the bit Alex you were saying about the hand inside the body. That's disturbing in this film. Imagine that in a live action film. It becomes a horror film, doesn't it? In a way it doesn't here. You know what I mean? Like it's and that's for me. I'll stop rambling now, but that's why this sort of film I think should be in the list and is important to me. So,
but again, I'd say this shows you how bad, and this really talking about this shows you why Scanner Darkly is so low. Because you think this, what he did with this, he really just opened his mind to the most crazy. Let's just do everything of a dream. What did Richard Linklater come up with? Oh, Robert Downey Jr. sees some boobs. Oh, people turn into bugs about 4 times. Well done. Like that is the most you could come up with as an original idea from animation. He didn't use the medium at all.
It's ridiculous.
So it's a total waste, really. He wasted the medium. Whereas this, at least it just revels in it. It just kind of... And it delivers what you want, because you have the dream world, the real world, and then you have that end that goes nuts, where everything just crosses over. Because you kind of think it might be the end, when they're like, oh, we sorted it out. And then you're like, that giant doll appears. And you're like, oh, shit. It's obviously... that was...
I do think though, like that ending, I can see why you've got to really have gone with it, haven't you, to get that ending. Like if you're not 100% committed to what they're trying to do, the ending is ridiculous, isn't it? So,
he's just a big. There's a big bloke. He's the chairman's a giant kind of monster ghost thing, isn't he? And she merges with herself and becomes a giant child naked woman, and then sucks everything. I mean, doesn't make much sense really at all.
No.
But it's not a problem. I didn't find it a problem, but I could see why. Like Chris, you found it a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I probably just didn't connect with it. Like how you guys.
Yeah, and then you're just not really into it. And you're not really bothered. So
just hearing what how
it's interesting listening to what you've taken away from it.
That's what I'm saying. And
from it,
do you think that if you watch something like that in the future, you'd be able to get more from it now? Or would you
I would, but I find that I'd probably always be sitting there looking at it in a visual sense and probably not getting a lot of stimulation from it.
Right, you just done animation.
Yeah, because there's just not as far as like framing and the 3-dimensionality of what cinematography does. I can't. I know there is some there are some 3D stuff in this film and the next one, and it's done really well. So at times, just with 2-dimensional elements, it's really cleverly done. But to be honest, it's
a different thing to the cinematography.
It's a different thing. It's a different. I'm not saying it's a crap
the way
thing. I'm just saying it's different.
Yeah, I mean, but that's more the technical thing, isn't it? Though, because the cinematography of it, the shots are composed.
I might be visually stimulated more. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, because I keep saying WALL-E's too high up the list for me, and it's like the flip for me, because the way WALL-E looks, other than the space, the actual bits when he flies in space, does nothing for me at all. I don't really like.
See, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, is it because I don't like animation, and why is it I like WALL-E so much? And the thing is, the Pixar films come from an angle of cinematography, because everything is built in a 3D world, and it's lit by a DOP, and it's shot by a DOP.
Yeah,
and they tell a story with Pixar which you couldn't do in real life. They always choose something like plastic toys, and the texture of what they can do with their CGI means it's really great for plastic and for robots.
So that's really interesting.
But it's shot in a cinema.
It's done in the language of cinema, not the language of animation.
We've hit on the crux there, I think, of the difference basically in mine and yours taste, because all those reasons are why the only Pixar film I can watch is WALL-E, or the rest of them I do nothing for me at all. Because I cannot stand.
There's so much heart in some Pixar films.
Well, I don't like heart.
He doesn't like heart.
I'm not
he
interested.
Has no heart.
I'm not interested in emotional bullshit.
Sort of.
I don't like Disney films. It's nonsense. I don't care about make believe bullshit. But
this is the difference between me and you, then.
Yeah, it is. Like you like ET, I don't like ET.
Yeah.
What? ET's great.
But we're talking I'm talking on the technical level.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me either. Like I can't get with just a bunch of computer. It just looks like a computer cutscene to me. And anyway,
it's interesting because I really like Disney films, and that uses the same style of animation as this. And
they did rotoscoping, didn't they? In a lot of Disney films, they used rotoscoping.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's probably that racism of yours coming out again.
It probably is.
Well, it'll be interesting when you go and see
I'm more into like the American Imperial sort of, the Aryan princess rather than the.
Yeah, you should definitely go and see the Ghost in the Shell remake.
Yeah, that's true. The whitewashed remake. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to a rating then. So, as this was my film, I'll go first. This is tough. I think for me, this is number 4, below Jurassic Park and above Predator 2.
No. I'd put it under They Live.
Okay. Chris?
I'd put it under Safety Not Guaranteed.
Oh, what?
Oh, no.
I'm just thinking whether I'd want to see it again. I wouldn't want to see it again, and I'd want to see all them other films again. I wouldn't want to see Spaceballs again. You have my answer.
So we've got 4, a 10, and a 15.
Well, that split the crowd.
Yeah. I can see They Live being a better film. It's better than Silent Running, though, and it's better than Her. It's better than bloody Wall-E. Jesus Christ.
It is not better than Wall-E. No way is it better
than Wall-E. Way better than Wall-E. Wall-E's way too high
on any measure.
Wall-E's lucky it got on this list so early on, because if it got on here later on, it'd be a lot further down.
I think it's better than Edge of Tomorrow. I don't know if I even think it's better than Independence Day.
What?
It's good, but
I would accept under Independence Day.
Well, I won't. Well, originally, Alex, you said below They Live.
Yeah, which is just above Independence
Okay,
Day.
I'll have to accept that then, when I bloody.
What do you mean? That's not the average of the where
I said 4.
Yeah.
Alex
said 15.
Yeah.
I said 10 originally.
So that's a spread of
I'm
11.
happy with 10.
So the average is 11.
No, it's not. 4, 15, that's 11.
So we'll have one spot above Independence Day. Is that what we're going with? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Ugh.
Sorry.
All right. That's all right. You all suck.
It should even be on this list. It's not even a film.
No, I don't agree with that.
See, now
and I think you're going to run into problems because we're going to be watching more animated films as we go on.
We're going to have problems.
We've got Akira to come at some point.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Akira.
Oh, right, yeah.
Battle Angel Alita, was that a film? Was that a TV series? I can't remember if that was... They're remaking that, aren't they? Isn't James Cameron making? No, he's been making that for years.
He's supposed to be exactly. Yeah. That sounds more like,
Okay, so there's our second film. Paprika, Delta and Injustice. But at number 10, okay.
Maybe when your book comes out, we can reevaluate
it. No, when the film adaptation of the book comes out, we can put that on the list. And,
that's going right at the bottom.
All your interviews say, I made it because of Paprika, yeah.
I didn't know. If anyone's listening who's read it, I honestly didn't know anything about this film. It was a shock. Anyway, let's move on. After the break, we'll return with the main event, Ghost in the Shell. Part 3, and it's our final film of the day, Ghost in the Shell, the anime classic. Directed by Mamoru Oshii, probably murdering that name.
Mamoru Oshii? It probably sounds better.
Nice, yeah. Released in 1995. Chris, do you want to give us a brief idea what this film's about?
Okay, so this is set in a futuristic city. I think they do give its name at one point, but it's basically like a
Newport City. It's called.
Yeah, it's kind of like a westernized Japanese city of the future.
Yeah.
Our main characters work for like a security department, like a MI5 type thing. Section 9 they're called. Now there's also a rival section called Section 6 that they talk about and interact with. But in general they're after some villain hacker. So they're
the Puppet Master.
The Puppet Master. Now the technology which everyone seems to accept is there's a lot of cybernetics, so the mix between humans and robots. Some people are more human and less robot, and some people are more robot and less human.
Yep.
And then now for the time in 1995, they also talk about the idea of there being an internet. Now there was an internet in 1995, but it wasn't like this. And how they can interact with each other and communicate and operate things and that type of thing. But there's an idea of there being a sentient soul, which is like a program which can be moved around. Is it like a download?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a ghost, as it were.
A ghost,
perhaps.
So perhaps you could say as a concept. Yeah. So they're chasing down this hacker. It goes through a few different tangents. I'm not saying I followed everything, but I was along for the ride. And then there's all sorts of like political, diplomatic crap, which they're talking about different countries and organisations and all that, which I'm sure when the movie that's about to come out comes out, that'll probably be presented to me in a way.
They'll probably stripped it all out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll be presented in its most basic way for me. So they basically get to the bottom of it all, and it turns out, spoiler alert, at this what is it? Puppet Master is more of a sentient program, and
it's basically the intent's giving rise to a soul, a ghost, as it were.
And then that's trying to combine with the main character to make an offspring program ghost, shall we say? Right there?
Sort of.
That's the main goal of it, right?
He wants to know...
I sound like a fool, because these guys are just like... I'm feeling my way through this film, because it did lose me from time to time, I have to say.
Did you enjoy it, though, before we move on?
Yes, it was. And it was very cinematic, and I can see why they're going to make a film of it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't actually have to change many shots and how things are presented to make a really good-looking sci-fi film.
You've got the guns. I like the fact in the credits as well, there's a guy his one job was inventing the weaponry in this film.
Yeah, well, it's a lot like Blade Runner in that sense. There's a lot of Blade Runner-y stuff in this, like the sequences where they're just travelling through the city. There's long Blade Runner type sequences. The guns are very similar. The music,
is fantastic.
Yeah,
score in this film,
it's a post-internet Blade Runner, shall we say? Maybe.
It's basically
it's got touches of Matrix and all that sort of stuff.
Well, the Matrix has got touches of this.
Yeah. I'm just seeing if I've wrote some stuff down, seeing if I'm missing anything.
Well, hang on, before you go on any further, let's go to Alex. And have you seen this film before, Alex?
No, so I hadn't seen this, and obviously read loads. It's always heralded as being like the greatest manga, or like one of the the best of the genre.
There's gratuitous naked women things going on.
There always is, though.
It's Japan for you, though.
Yeah, it just has to be.
You can't have a Japanese film without it.
But I thought it was amazing. Like, I think it worked. For me, it completely worked. And it worked better than Paprika for me. I think it was just... Although it was very... you can see the Blade Runner influence, but it really, to me, just created this world that I just felt totally sucked into. If it's only an hour and 22 minutes or something,
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It feels like so much goes on, and I was just completely submerged in it, and I thought it was really good. I thought the characters were really good, and the one thing that really stood out to me is that final tank fight.
Yeah.
The music is really slow for that. Like it's not like this kind of pumping, like high energy dance. It's really weirdly ambient, slow music, and it works so well. And just like there was so many amazing visuals in it. There was some brilliant ideas. I think it got heavy, and you know all that heavy stuff in it. I think was well done. I didn't find it annoying. I found it interesting. All round, I thought it was brilliant. I really, really liked it. And it made me want to see the live, this remake.
The American Imperial adaptation.
Exactly, but I do not know how they could improve on it, because I thought it was perfect.
No,
I don't see what they're going to have done to make it better.
Okay.
I would like to see it in a cinematic way, though.
This one?
Yeah, I don't see it. I see all the things you're saying about that, but I thought it was such a cinematic film. I thought.
Oh, it was. But
I
think it would. I think it would look great.
Right. So let me make a couple of points.
This is like
Because
you always engineer this, so you get the last.
No. I'm the host.
Okay.
I'm letting you talk first. I'll go first next time then. Yeah. I agree with you both. It's a brilliant film. I absolutely love the film. I think just what was going to make one point. Oh, Alex, you saying about how it's quite short and it's the world building is really good. Yeah. I think that because of how many things rip this off, you kind of know the world already in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
I think it really helps the film, because I remember I got this film. I think I remember taping it off Film 4 or whatever Film 4 was before Film 4, probably Channel 4, when I was at school, and I did VHS, and it was a lot more confusing than it is now in terms of the world building. Before the internet, if we could look stuff up, I suppose, stuff like that. Yeah. And full disclosure, I did write an essay about how Descartes' dualism is related to the philosophy of this while at university.
Please, can this be uploaded onto the website for everyone to read?
It's available on the notes.
Well, no, sadly, I've actually looked for it. I've only got the last page of it. Annoyingly, it's probably not very good.
That's probably obviously the best page.
So I've obviously thought about it on quite a quite a deep level. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of that. Basically, do you know what dualism is?
Really?
I will when you tickle. I have heard of it. And
you'll know. It's basically
my.
It's the idea that the body and the mind are separate. Basically,
Right.
Basically that's it. And Descartes, put forward that basically there is a mind that exists within you that is separate to your corporeal form, and Ghost in the Shell is dealing with that all the way through, basically, with the idea of what is Major, because she is, as they say, made of parts, replaceable parts. She's got a mind. They never really say where her mind came from.
No.
It's assumed that someone's consciousness was uploaded at some point into this internet.
Yeah, it could be dead people.
I always assumed she was a human augmented. She was a human at one point.
I mean, that would make more sense, because obviously that would make the difference between her and the puppet master, who appears to have just bubbled up from the internet, in that sense. So obviously, he's a mind without a body, and she, in some ways, is a body separated from a mind, but she is struggling to rectify those two throughout. And it's just such the concepts to relay these in a way that is as exciting as Ghost in the Shell is, cyborgs with awesome weapons fighting giant robot tanks, and all this cool looking futuristic Blade Runner stuff. The aesthetic to get those sort of messages into a film is something that, again, animation and Japanese animation can do that we struggle with in the West, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's fair point?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You don't think that's fair point?
No, everything up until that last point, it was good.
Well, name a film that does this then?
Name a Western science fiction film that has this sort of level of philosophical introspection.
And don't say the second Matrix film or the third Matrix film.
Well, I think Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is a great film. I don't think it's as explicit with what it's saying. I mean, I prefer Blade Runner, but I don't think it's explicit with the with how it approaches the philosophy of what a mind and a body is it? It's not as explicit in.
It doesn't. Blade Runner, you get the questions by thinking about it. This asks you the questions. This makes you deal with it.
Don't in Blade Runner. He doesn't dive to the bottom of the sea, come back up, and then they have a big discussion about like why a cyborg would go into the sea and
that's
try.
Why
and...
I struggle a little bit with this as an art form, because as a script of dialogue, it's kind of it doesn't follow any rules of what I would follow, and I've been trained to, because for that reason is they would go off on a little tangent and then they talk about something philosophically for
but hang on though, but what about Woody Allen films? Because a lot of Woody Allen films, which are films and are not science fiction at all, have massive tangents like this, and I think that's why I love Woody Allen for the same thing of like he will go off into a philosophical tangent and without
I'm not saying I like Woody Allen film.
No, I'm not saying you have to like it, but you're saying that it's not a film because it does this sort of thing.
No, I'm just saying I'd probably struggle with that style of screenwriting.
But that scene does serve a second purpose, because it's kind of trying to make you realise.
It kind of pulls me out of it. I'm sitting there. I'm now thinking. I'm going. Now they give me a science lesson, I'm not as engaged. I probably just kind of just leave the story slightly, and I'm aware of it. Probably that's probably what I'm talking about.
You mean you're aware like that it's somebody writing a concept down?
They're just backfilling some theory.
Okay.
That's probably. It's just that little momentary period. I'm just aware of that. And
what were you going to say, Alex? Sorry about that.
Oh no, just that scene is pretty much trying to tell you that the Bateau, that guy, the really cool, big, massive guy, he's kind of in love with her, isn't he? I mean, and it's kind of quite a romantic scene. That scene, and that great bit when they go on about drinking, and they're like, "Well, why'd you drink? Because you can totally be sober again." That's really interesting. It's kind of like a buddy kind of little in the calm before the storm kind of buddy cop film chat, isn't it? It gets really, really, really philosophical.
What I'm saying
heavy.
is in the film, and we might see that scene in the film that's going to come out. It'll be interesting to see if they do. When she has a drink, and then there's that little bit where she goes, "But it's all right because of some XYZ. It's not a problem." And now that is a bit of dialogue on the back end of her just having a drink is difficult to. I can't see that being a bit of Western dialogue. But
remember, though, you are
screenwrite.
But you're either watching a dub or you're watching translated subtitles. You're not watching the original. Writing, which might influence it, but it's also just makes.
No, I mean, just in terms of how it kind of just steps out of.
Yeah, see, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that.
That's one of the best.
Something to character B.
I completely
they
disagree.
both know.
Yeah.
No, but that's not. That they're like discovering, aren't they? She's explaining to him because she wants to explain to him why she's diving and why she's doing what she's doing towards drinking. Basically, she's saying to him that she's struggling with what she is, isn't she?
Yeah.
But her character is that she's dismissive and she's she internalises this and she doesn't want to talk to him really. So that's why it comes off like that. I don't agree.
I find it interesting that actually everyone's has different levels of cybernetics.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was interesting because that probably solves the problem I'm talking about, in the sense that everyone is having a different experience in the film.
Yeah.
All the characters are.
Yeah, and that's why she's important, because she's the one that is fully cyborg.
Yeah.
That's why the Puppet Master's looking for her, because she's the end result of it merging with robots, basically.
It's like the Borg were looking for data, weren't they?
Yeah. Just to go back to one point about the translation, I watched the Blu-ray of this because you just come out. And if anyone at home wants to watch it, don't watch that version, because the translation is absolutely awful and appears to just be machine translated, in Google Translate, something like that. The old DVD, I don't know if you can still get it, but it's probably 10 years old now. It comes in a cardboard slip. That's the best translation. So of the three I've seen. But I don't know which one you've watched, which might influence, because Lucy hadn't seen it before and she watched it with me, and she didn't get much out of it until I made her watch the better translation and got more out of it, basically. So that might have influenced it.
I don't think it was. It wasn't because of that. I'm not saying it's because of the dialogue specifically, word for word. There was problems with it. I'm saying how it went for sections of the script.
It's that concept within.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, within that you wouldn't. You don't see that kind of that kind of sentence being inserted.
Everyone stop and stand where they are. Where I explain something which we both know, you and I, but the audience doesn't. So I'm now going to explain it.
Yeah.
That for me, I struggle with. But
yeah.
Okay. But I have to stress. I mean, cinematically, it's beyond the last one.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Way better. Yeah.
It does. I mean, I know we're not trying to count the historical importance, but this is a massive influence on Western cinema. I mean, like the Matrix, most sort of science fiction films rip off the aesthetic of it in some way. You know, a lot of things after it, the way the world's built and weapons are done and stuff like that. It's such a unique sort of a fresh take, isn't it? I mean, it is a lot of Blade Runner, but it's a very Japanese Blade Runner, isn't it?
And I did like the soundtrack and some of the sound design I wasn't a fan of. There was some sounds which just didn't. I don't see why they used, but but otherwise, it's really cool. Yeah,
cool, good. Well, I'm glad you both liked it because I love it.
But are you guys not looking forward to the American version now?
I'm not going to watch it.
No, I don't.
I've got no interest.
I'd be worried about it. Yeah, I'd just be very because I think that you mentioned in passing the nudie women bit, and there's that whole great credit sequence. Where they're creating her, which
I was watching that and going, are they going to do this with Scarlett Johansson?
Exactly,
full on this.
Exactly, and I think as much as again it's a joke that Japanese people are obsessed with sexy robots and all this, I think that Ghost in the Shell plays with that. She's very unsexual. She's not really sexy. She's kind of. I think what it's trying to do is it's almost challenging you to be like, but do you actually find this woman sexy? It's kind of weird that you're finding this robot sexy. Whereas you put Scarlett Johansson in that, well, I think you are going to find her sexy. And it is gratuitous when she's half naked, jumping off a building, shooting backwards and then going... I think it messes with quite an interesting element of this by making it a real person.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because she's got a very boyish face, hasn't she, Major? Like, her actual facial features are very not... attractive, especially not like Japanese attractive, but obviously her body's like very sort of, a perfect looking body.
And she's just like, if you compare her to like Paprika, who's kind of coy and like flirty and like, she's supposed to be like a man's ideal, that again, they play on that, she's like a man's ideal woman. Major's she's just really authoritarian. She just gets the job done. She's just she's a very traditionally male role. She just goes in, kicks ass, has a bit of an existential crisis, yes, but it's not. She's not, and it is weird when she strips off because you are like, oh yeah, she's completely like. It is odd and it jars you, but I think it's actually almost. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's actually I think it's interesting that it jars you because it makes you go, well, what? She's a robot. What's wrong with you?
Would you have cast this with a girl with a more boyish look then, or would you have gone?
I'd have cast the Japanese person for the fucking first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't have cast it. I don't see why I need to remake it. There's nothing wrong with this film. This film is as close to a perfect film as you can get for what it is.
Yeah, but we've had so many of them on this. This list is going to be full of them.
What, perfect films?
No, of films being remade.
Oh yeah, that's true. Don't need to be
perfect.
Remade,
the best films ever made remade.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'll probably watch it on DVD eventually, but I'm not going to rush out and see it. Just because what is the point?
Yeah.
I've got Ghost in the Shell. I don't need to watch Scarlett Johansson's Ghost in the Shell. So
I'd see. I'm really into I'd be into watching what they do with the new one in like the art design sense.
Yeah, I'd probably watch a making of before I'd watch a film, to be honest with you, just to see what I mean,
just artistically how they make the sets and the robots and the stuff like that. I mean, that sort of really floats my boat. All the workings of that.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to you watching it, Chris, and telling us about it.
Yeah, you can let us know.
Yeah. Well, I'll fill you in next week.
Cool.
But also, I think it might be difficult for the makers of the new one because the art direction in this one is actually so good. And why would you even change some of it?
Well, I think in to their accidental advantage, the fact it's taken them so long to get this made. I mean, Ghost in the Shell's so old now. You've got a generation of people who have got no idea. Well, I guess you're my generation. You've not seen it, but I mean, obviously, to people who are our age in the early 2000s, it was quite a big deal, wasn't it? I mean, you'd heard of it, even if you hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who don't even know what it is now. So I think it won't matter too much what the source material is, because people will have seen it as a brand new film. So anyway,
see, I think as a title, they would not have had a movie with that content. They would not have chosen that title to be on the movie now. I think it's a weak title.
Oh no, they're still getting the cash in. Oh, what? It's not a weak title.
What? Why?
No, I think
she's a shell and Master's a ghost.
Yeah, they explain it all.
Yeah, it sums it up perfectly.
Okay, take that back.
Better than Paprika.
No, I quite like that title.
It just felt like that was in there, so they could do that weird, like, add a little spice joke.
I think that's the style of all of this, which I just don't like. And I've said it. I've just keep repeating myself, but I don't like that.
What?
That explanation, sort of.
So, where are we going to put this in the list? I'll go first this time. For me, number 2.
I'd say below Predator 2.
I would say I will not accept above Wall-E.
Well, you might have to, because the 2 of us think it's better than Wall-E. It's much better than Wall-E.
Yeah, so I think it should be below Silent Running.
Okay. Alex, you think below Predator 2? So you think between Predator 2 and Wall-E?
I love Predator. I love Predator 2. That's just how it is. So, but I do think it's better than Wall-E. So that's where it has to. That's where it sits for me.
Do you think it's better than Jurassic Park?
Me?
Yeah.
Better than Jurassic Park.
No, because it does really. The fact is, I do think it was a great world. It was an amazing world, but you do just think Blade. When you watch it, there is a real heavy Blade Runner influence, and Jurassic Park. You don't think, oh yeah, other dinosaur film. No, Jurassic Park was its own thing. So yes and no, I don't think it's better than Jurassic Park.
So really, it should be 4, shouldn't it?
Why?
Because I think it's number 2.
Oh,
you think it's number 5, and Chris thinks it's number 8. So it should be below Jurassic Park and above Predator 2.
Well, I'm unhappy with Predator 2 slipping, but okay, I can agree with that.
Chris, what do you think in terms of Ghost in the Shell versus Predator 2?
I would watch Predator 2 a lot more times than this. I've seen this now. I'm just understimulated visually.
Well, in that case, I will edit that question out of the podcast.
I'm understimulated visually. I am still coming to terms with how I'm going to put this sort of work in with some of this other work here in a cinema sense. Okay. So I'm still sort of coming to terms with that in my brain. Yeah. Because the work it goes into making something like Jurassic Park as a craft, so the combination of it being artistic merit as a film craft, so you've got the technicalities and completely different with this sort of film, and I'm finding it quite difficult to bring them together on one list.
But
now, as just a pure entertainment sense, Predator 2 beats it.
Hang on, just go back to your previous point. The craft between Jurassic Park and Wall-E is completely different.
It's not.
Other than the fact you're saying they've got a director of photography and stuff like that, there's no sets being built on Wall-E, is there? There's people.
Well, they are. Yeah, someone builds a set. Someone makes the products
on a computer. On a computer, though,
it has no bearing on whether it's on the computer or not. You make a model, you make a prop.
On a computer.
It's done. Yeah, it has no bearing on that because you shoot it 3-dimensionally in Wall-E. Now it's exactly the same. The light is they actually write into the photons the same physics. It's identical. Now you don't do that with these animated films.
No, you don't do that. But it just you
don't sit and go, what do I want to see? How are we going to light this? How 3-dimensionally are the things moving around? Yeah. What you're doing is you're reverse engineering what you want to see as a movie and going, how do I make this animation look
Chris,
like that?
Chris, when you're watching a film, you're not sitting there going, this set's 3D, this set's not 3D, are you?
No,
you're watching
if it's good,
you're watching a story.
You've left that behind.
Yeah, so you're watching a story and a narrative, yeah? that has elements of craft to it that are different in different.
But that's
films.
what I'm saying. This isn't stimulate. I'm not leaving that behind.
But I'm not disagreeing with you saying you're not stimulating you. What I'm disagreeing with is you saying it belongs on a different list. It doesn't belong on a different list, does it? It's still a film. It's still a story. It's still an
I didn't say them words because I didn't want to say them words. But I'm saying I'm struggling to bring these into one list. I'm saying I'm working with you here, but I am working. That's what I'm saying.
If Wall-E wasn't on this list, I think you'd be totally right to be like, oh, I don't know about this anymore. Maybe we shouldn't count animation. But because Wall-E's on it, it's kind of, we've already included animation, so...
Pixar movies were a new art form.
Oh my God! Fuck Pixar.
It's all animation. Get over it. It's all animation.
Yeah.
No,
it's all drawing.
Why do you think they were so
just
obsessed
because
with
it
getting
didn't
bought
go
by
into
Disney?
a camera doesn't make it.
It's all drawing.
No, Pixar is his animation as Disney is.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
No.
No,
they're all animation.
There's a fundamental difference.
No, there's not.
If you had said it's a live action science fiction rating system, fine. We'll get rid of Wall-E, we'll get rid of Ghost in the Shell, Paprika, and we'll probably have to get rid of Scanner Darkly. But that isn't the case.
No, it's because you're not starting from the beginnings. When they sit down and make a Pixar film,
I bet you the first thing they do is draw on a bit of paper what the character looks like.
Yeah, but
so
they do that
that's
with every
animation.
Film.
Exactly.
About storyboards.
They do with live action films, Chris. You do storyboards. When you do live action stuff, you write storyboards out, which is how you start an animated film as well.
The craft of making the film
starts with storyboards, which is how an animated film starts.
And it ends. What I'm saying is there's the steps involved in making a
But that's
film.
ridiculous. If you're going to go into craft
more in
like
common
that,
with Pixar
no, because
films
if you're going to say that
Jurassic
though,
Park
then the top film on this list. No, the top film on this list. If you want to say the craft, the top film on this list will be the biggest budget film of all time. That was about the hardest thing to make, wouldn't it?
No.
If you're going to the craft route, of course
because I'm saying a craft is a combination of the art and the technique.
Which is exactly what I'm saying by saying it's a different craft, but it's the same form. It's still a film.
It's the same length.
It's the same form. It is a narrative story told.
I think, Chris,
visually.
We have to take Wall-E off. If we're going to not include these films, Wall-E has to come off completely.
All I'm saying is Wall-E has more in common with photographed films than I think you're giving it credit for.
So does Scanner Darkly.
As a piece of art.
Ghost in the Shell's got all its cues of the cinematography is taken from live action.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying one is lesser than the other. I'm not saying that.
That's
I'm
what
just
it sounds
saying.
like.
No, I didn't say that. I clearly didn't say that.
Okay, you say it needs to be on a different list.
I'm saying I'm struggling to think of it on this list, and not because this is a higher list. I'm saying it's how I come at this list and how I think about how films are made. That's all it is.
Okay, fair.
We're not doing animation for a while again after this. Who knew?
Yeah, because
who knew this would be the biggest argument?
Trouble.
But no one else is having that trouble.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm an idiot for thinking about this issue.
No. I just find it funny that I just think if you're striking off Wall-E, then it would be fine. But it's just that you keep leaving Wall-E on. You did just say Pixar films were a higher art form or a different new art form.
No, I didn't say it was a higher art form. I said there's more in common with a Pixar movie than traditionally photographed films because of how they're made. The process is very clearly a cinematography-led way of doing it.
We're going to move on from this. I'm going to say one more thing. Who directed Wall-E?
And if there's anyone out there who wants to weigh in on
Wall-E?
this, please do, because
who directed Wall-E?
I don't care.
Brad Bird. What did Brad Bird do as his career?
Animator.
An animator. Yeah. So as much as he's taken stuff from live action film, it's an animation.
I could find you a lot of live action films which are directed by animators and vice versa.
Well, like Brad Bird, he did Mission Impossible
and
3,
vice versa,
or 4, sorry. But anyway, let's move on.
So where is it?
That doesn't answer anything, that point.
No, it answers the point that you're saying that they're completely separate and you've got to put these animations in a different list. And what I'm saying to you is they can't be that separate because Brad Bird, his whole visual language comes from being an animator, from making Simpsons episodes, and he went and made Wall-E.
If you ask me why I put it in a certain place on that list, and I told you, I'm telling you it's because I think of films a different way. Okay. Now,
let's leave it at that. So that was an interesting debate.
Wow.
Well, this is why we're doing this, right? This is why
No,
we're
definitely.
doing
No,
this.
I mean, it is interesting to see, like, it's nice to see it like a different point of view.
And then disregard it?
Well, no, like, just hopefully we're broadening your horizon a bit there. And, like, I don't sound like you have, though.
I'm not sure you've found have you found the average there between?
It's in at number 4. Yeah.
Is that but was that the mathematical average?
That was the mathematical average.
It was, annoyingly, it's beaten Predator 2. Boo. Well, okay.
I understand that we're not going to agree on all of this, but
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah.
I'm probably not explaining it well. I'm not getting my point across as far as the role of cinematography in filmmaking.
We don't go over it again. The last thing I say.
I don't want to get. I'm not going to do it here again now, but I will probably come with some homework for next time.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Fair enough.
Oh dear.
Let me just say one last thing. Okay, that it was not. I've got no problem with you not liking Japanese film.
No.
I mean, not liking. The one thing I took issue was with that idea that it's a separate enough craft to be in a different list. Okay, that's the thing that I disagree with. Okay, let's move on. Let's leave it at that. Wow. So that went on a bit long. I thought it was.
On that bombshell.
So if you do want to get in touch,
if you're an animator or a cinematographer.
I didn't mean anything negative by that, by the way. I just
No,
said
you didn't.
It
No,
was.
it's fine.
I'm
We can
struggling
disagree.
to come to terms with it being with all these other things. That's
Right. Let's just do
these
the top.
other things being on the same list as this other Japanese stuff,
stop.
which is really good.
Stop. That's the end.
What's next week?
Let's move on. No, first of all, let's go over the top 5. So,
Okay.
we've got a new bottom film, which is A Scanner Darkly, number 18. It's 18 in the list. That's not bad going now.
No, it's not.
So the top 5 now is number 5, Predator 2, number 4, Ghost in the Shell, number 3, Jurassic Park, number 2, Star Wars A New Hope, and number 1, Aliens, which, if nothing else, is like an eclectic and interesting list now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Without a doubt.
indeed.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah. Right, I'm exhausted after it's just,
You need another
Yeah, I
drink.
mean, there's
oh my
no
God.
hard feelings. I mean, it's a great list.
No,
it's a
normally,
good one.
not at all. No, I'd much rather have a debate than we all just turn up and go, that's great, number 1.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of doing this. If it was, a list without arguments, it'd be just one of our top lists, wouldn't it? And that's no fun. No one would listen to that. So, no, keep disagreeing. And if you disagree at home or agree with either of us or any of us, get in touch at mail@sciencefictionratingsystem.com. You can also get in touch on Twitter on @sfratingsystem. We're also on Instagram @sciencefictionratingsystem. And contact us anywhere with ideas for lists on films that we can cover or thoughts thus far on the list. Next week we're going into the realm of comic book adaptations. So there's a loose kind of rule that we're not going to go into the sort of Marvel stuff too much, are we?
We're
We're not
going
going
to
to
try
do
and
like
restrain
Batman.
ourselves, and because you can open up a Pandora's box
Yes,
Yeah.
of a lot of very similar,
of
very
Robert
recent
Downey
films.
Jr.
Yeah, which no one wants. But we are going to be dipping into the Marvel universe next week. With our first film, Guardians of the Galaxy, because the sequel comes out in April. So we're going to look at some comic book films. So our first film is Guardians of the Galaxy. Our second is Dredd. Not Judge Dredd, not the Sylvester Stallone film. The 2000
Are we going to do that
12
that one though at some point?
Yeah.
Should do.
Oh yeah, definitely at some point. Yeah, Dredd with Carl Urban.
Yeah.
And I forgot the name of the.
Isn't she in Game of Thrones?
She is. I can't remember. Anyway, Dredd, and the third film is Flash Gordon.
Flash.
which will be fun. Yes, Savior of the Universe. I've not seen that film in a very long time.
No, I haven't.
No.
I feel like we should be doing that with. Do you remember the Masters of the Universe film?
Oh God, yeah.
Sort of similar, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are our 3 films: Guardians of the Galaxy, Dredd, and Flash Gordon.
Well, I'm at home.
Visit sciencefictionratingsystem.com for the whole list.
Yeah.
You can also get in touch with any of us. Chris, where are you at?
So on Twitter, it's at Chris Redding. Instagram, Chris J Redding. Some idiot's got Chris Redding. I can't get hold of him. Well, I can get hold of him. He doesn't want to play.
Do you want to plug anything while you're there?
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
No.
Reverse psychology. Don't buy Somnus on.
Oh, my copy turned up.
Yeah.
Nice lenticular sleeve there.
Nice.
And
what's a lenticular sleeve, Sam?
isn't it just like it's got like special effects on it?
Shiny.
Like, shiny.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you not got a
some...
copy?
No, I haven't. No.
I noticed there's a director's commentary on there. Special feature.
Yes. It's not that good. No, sorry, it's brilliant.
I think I'm sure when I bought mine, it was. Let me just have a look. There were only a few copies left. Let me just have a look on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I think it's close to selling out. It must have only ordered like 20.
Well, actually, the director's commentary I recorded with one of the actors. Actually, there are some insights there. So,
oh, right.
Yeah.
There's
Not that
one
you'd want
copy.
insight.
There's one copy left in stock on Amazon.
Brilliant. Buy it. Come on, everyone.
There were 14 left when I bought it, so you sold a few.
This podcast's having an
effect,
impact on it.
yeah. Right, Alex, where are you at? And plug your things.
Oh, at Love Horror. So if you love horror as much as you love science fiction, check out the website. Well, we're on Twitter and stuff like that. But
that little line there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Been doing it for years.
Gotta have a tagline. Yeah, I've been saying it for years. So we've had to decide for a long time. So yeah, check that out. Check the website out. lovehorror.com or .co.uk, whichever you like.
Brilliant. I am at Wheel the Robot on Twitter.
Can I just say, all the music on these podcasts is really good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
If you'd like to get, listen to, well, some of it is in the feature film Somnus, available at Amazon, or if you'd like to get it more directly, samdraper.net for all the, well, not all the music, it's not all on there actually, but music like this, and forthcoming songs. And if you want to publish a book that's a bit like Paprika, get in touch.
It's very good. It was really good book.
.com. Yeah, Alex read it. He liked it. Yeah, thanks, Alex.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really good. Yeah.
And if you like,
did he forward it to you or something? Did he send it to you and go?
You've got it.
Wasn't it on my computer I bought off you?
It was, yeah.
Oh, so that's included, is it?
Yeah, you get the book free when you buy the
Whenever
computer.
you buy a system.
Yeah.
You've not got the paperback of that one, have you? You've got the first book.
Yeah, I have.
In
But
actual paperback.
I haven't
Yeah.
got any of this. Where do I get this?
Well, you can have it if you like. Yeah. You got a Kindle?
No.
Well, we'll get in touch off air about that. Okay. So that's the end for this week, episode 6. We'll be back in a fortnight with another 3 films.
I think we've achieved something today.
What's that?
Well, we've got some animations on there.
Please don't.
You know how much I bloody love animation,
Fade up
guys.
The music. Fade up the music. Oh God. We've achieved something. We've pushed Independence Day further down the list, and with that,
That's
I will
annoying.
say good night.
Cheerio.
Bye, everyone. Bye.